De wilde buffels eten kaas en drinken bier ook toch zo graag. So we were sitting in Café Barbette to drink an Oberon during the summer, and we'd wake up the next day and we would say,
why are we feeling weird in our head from just one glass of beer? I think we should go and ask them.
Them being the Bell's Brewery in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
You should bike there. Bike and we camp along the way.
And then I said, not only is it 500 miles away, but it's across a big lake.
But I thought, well, let's try it anyway. So we took off.
Wilde buffels gaan op pad en springen op hun stalen rost. Day 1 began in Red Wing at 1:30 p.m. We packed all of our bags. We had tent and clothes. And then the first thing we had to do
was crossing that bridge with like trucks.
And then
and we with that heavy loaded bikes.
Unsteady with wind coming off the river. And then we were on the other side of the river, and you get the first sense that there's hills, and you are in your lowest gear. Well, you're working really hard. You kind of think you're going to come around the curve and you're going to see the top of the hill. All you see is
another curve higher than the one you are on.
So we probably only made it 20 to 30 miles the first day, which if you think about 500 miles, isn't a good sign.
Well, the next problem, where to sleep, right?
Right. So we come in just at dark to Durand, Wisconsin, and you saw a woman.
Yeah, an older woman watering her plants. And she had a big yard.
We just asked her, can we set up our tent?
There you are with your bicycles and our straw hats.
We weren't threatening at all.
We weren't hell angels.
She just said, sure, just pick a spot. Day 2, enormous pancakes. On bikes at 10.
The sun was high in the sky.
This is July, and so we're starting to bike in the hottest part of the day. And the wind again, I think, too. Mm-hmm. And we started to say, God, if you change the wind, we'll make you a pancake when we get back.
Meaning God is nature. And there is no shade at all. You're just like in plain sun, staring into the distance to see the next water tower, because that meant there was a village.
And then we arrived at the town of Osseo, and we'd only gone, again, 30 miles. I was starting to think of a plan to escape. We need to find a town where you can rent a car or get on a train to go back. And then some people came up to us on the street, and we said, oh, we're not from Osseo. And they heard your accent. And you said, I'm from Belgium. We've got 2 Belgians in our group. What's your group? Cycle America. But what's Cycle America? Oh, Cycle America helps you dip your rear tire of your bicycle in the Pacific Ocean, bike all the way across the United States.
And ended up with their front wheel in the Atlantic.
Right.
Yeah.
They say if you want to come and camp with us, you can set up your tent. And if you want, you can bike with us tomorrow and eat lunch with us.
If you make it.
De wilde buffels voelen zich goed en ze hebben de kriebels in hun bloed. Day 3, waking up with Cycle America. We want lunch. Made 42 miles by noon. Cycle America was like Superman for us. They basically structured our day for us where you get up really early.
They woke up at 6.
Like the bigger part of your day and the coolest part of the day. Take out the whole afternoon when it's hottest under a nice shady tree.
Yeah, siesta. And then it's hard to get back on the bike. Your behind is so sore and stiff.
Right.
But also we forgot to mention the yellow arrows.
Cycle America put the yellow arrows on the pavement. They charted off the best course possible.
The best and the most beautiful.
Waar heuvels worden hoge bergen, volgen ze de gele pijlen. So that would be the song that we're making up.
It actually is an oral history.
It's an oral history,
what
sure.
Happened.
Later in the day, we arrive in Pittsville, Wisconsin, and I think it's Bud Engelman is the first one we asked.
Yeah, the people in Wisconsin who are very inviting. And I think it's also the bicycles are sympathetic.
We were beautiful.
In our ignorance.
It's true.
And we had a great evening.
We had a very nice evening.
Campfire, drinking the beers.
That's our first experience of the frosty mugs. What you would call water beer.
Yeah, but I started to appreciate the water beers on our trip.
Yeah. It started to seem like we were getting blessed. God has put the wind at our back, so we're definitely owing a pancake at this point. Day 4. Wake up at Bud's, Apple Flop, Cherry Flop, Dying Animal, Cranberry Bogs. De wilde buffels gaan recht door regen, wind en zonneschijn.
And we were like singing our song, and all of a sudden
There was
an animal.
a poor little possum.
But he was on his back legs and his mouth was open.
Right.
And the blood was dripping like in slow motion.
Right, and he was dying.
You just go through the basic elements. The wind, the smell, the sun.
Clouds were coming over, and it was clear that it was going to rain. And we wanted to get to a town called Wapaka.
I felt like I was on a motorcycle. I
Exactly.
was like zooming and I was laying in the curves, like, wham, wham, wham.
Because the storm was coming from behind us and there was wind blowing us. And then we went in to find a motel for the night.
And
then
as soon as we checked in, it started raining.
it just poured rain for hour after hour.
That shower, I can't believe how good that shower felt.
It's true.
How you appreciate that people invented a shower.
Day 5, the moment we were leaving, the rain stopped. And we were following the storm that had overtaken us the day before. De wilde buffel staan vroeg op om 's morgens 40 mijl te gaan. But also by this point, because you're in the sun, you can't protect yourself. You have a little hat and you have sunscreen on.
I had blisters on my butt and blisters on my hand and my whole face was burnt.
And you were wearing socks on your hands and you bought kind of a huge diaper.
And a little bird was like picking with his beak my hair and pulling it out of my head to make his nest.
So we come to a little town called Brillion. The woman,
But she was so nervous.
because her husband, he'd actually had his second heart attack. And she had a little blonde boy, and we just set up in the backyard. And she brought us some breakfast cereal
She was
for the
just
morning.
so sweet. She thought, well, I have my sick husband there, but now I have those 2 people in the yard.
Day 6. Find yellow arrows on Humpty Dumpty Road. Follow to ferry. Buy last tickets to boat.
We got very, very lucky.
It has
I
to
can't
be.
believe how lucky we were.
So when we come off the ferry, it was winding, but not too hilly.
Yeah, and the light was so beautiful.
Right.
And
Zoom south, the sun goes down to Pentwater. Sat on stones at end of pier, looked at lake. Day 7, south again. Bought cherries and kiwis, asparagus fields, wind behind. And then we come to a Muskegon, and there's lots of glass on the street. And that's where I had a flat tire.
we didn't have any repair.
No, you're biking 500 miles.
Nothing at
You
all.
don't bring a spare tube along. That's how naive we were. And then these 2 people came up and helped me patch the tube. And then they noticed all the luggage on our bikes. She said, why don't you guys just put up your tent in my yard?
That's how it went.
We didn't even have to ask anymore. We were invited. Day 8, breakfast with Mary. She gives us maps. Maps. It must
Maps.
be maps.
Fietsen hier en fietsen daar. Fietsen, fietsen door Wisconsin. Fietsen oost en fietsen west. Fietsen, fietsen, Kalamazoo.
And by the time we got to town, it was just at dark.
And we stopped for making a photograph with the...
Kalamazoo city limit sign. And then this guy with a long beard was attracted to us.
and especially to you.
It seemed like I was Jesus Christ to him. And then we went into the town. And then we would ask
it's just so
people
weird.
in a park.
To find an hotel.
They just all seemed like the guy that we first encountered with the beard. And I thought it was like our state of mind.
That
Right.
we were just so tired.
But it turned out in Kalamazoo, they just put all of the schizophrenics into the city parks. So
That we find out the day afterwards.
day 9, all we have left to do is...
Go to the Oberon Brewery. They were going to be impressed from what we did.
Well, my sense is we would go into the Bell's Brewery and we would tell them our story. And they would bathe us in Oberon beer. They'd let us swim in the vats and drink it while we were swimming.
That's what we expect.
But it turned out that the brewery was in the process of being moved.
Yeah.
And so they said they
They were
weren't
not
brewing any beer.
there anymore. And I said, I can smell. They are brewing beer. Let's follow our nose. And we ended up across the street in another little place which was called the Kraft Brown.
A warehouse building, and at the end of it was a bar with multiple taps, and
All photographs of the Tour de France.
on the walls were big posters in black and white of they're stopping and they're drinking beer in the middle of the Tour de France, and they're smoking cigarettes to open up their lungs for the mountain stage. In the craft brow, we met Bert. His biggest enthusiasms in life were Belgian beer and bicycling.
And bicycles.
And so we told him our story, and he treated us like kings. And
Then
so,
he started asking us about the saddles that were shining because you had to ring them so much. And we were like, I don't know, we just have like a soft one.
well, Kurt was serious about bikes, but he gave us his prize bottle of barley wine.
And bird in the hand, that beer was just so good.
It turns out that the Oberon was just guiding us to the location of Craft Brau.
There's somebody who had the soul in bikes and beers.
Exactly, but that's where we really were intended to end up. We were blessed in terms of the people that we met. If it had been a little less lucky, it would be a different sort of story.
Because it would be a thriller.
Right.
Oh, that was fun.